What's going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NBA, but not just the regular NBA that we always talk about. This is the NBA with the twist because we are talking about daily fantasy. Yes, that's right, daily fantasy sports. Now, of course, you guys see the title. This is a video I have been wanting to bring to you guys for quite some time, and I'm excited to be able to finally do it. And this is the video that I'm going to be presenting you guys, and I'm talking about FanDuel and basically how I was able to win $1,000 on FanDuel. Yes, that's right, and this is not a sort of a scammy type of advertisement for FanDuel where I'm promoting them. I'm not getting paid by them to do this, not at all. This is just me who plays daily fantasy sports a lot. If you guys know me, you can ask anybody that knows me. I play daily fantasy sports all the time, really regularly, especially the NBA and the NFL, of course. And this was my biggest prize to date, and so I wanted to share it with you guys to let you guys know, listen, if I did it, you guys can do it too. I'm going to show you guys my lineup. I'm going to show you guys the reason why I picked every single player that I picked and kind of give you guys my thinking behind it and where I feel like I can help you guys too, where I feel like you guys should also try this with me, because honestly, folks, this was just $1,000, but obviously this does not stop here. You can win much, much more on these daily fantasy sports sites, and this is legit, as in I have already withdrawn the $1,000. Of course, 500 of it I saved up and kind of stashed it away. The other 500 I'm reinvesting back into FanDuel. But with that being said, yes, the money is real, and I've already received it. So again, like I said, nothing advertising, scammy type of issue like that. This is for real, so I'm going to go into details about how I won the $1,000. So before we get started and go in depth into the lineup and the players that I picked, I just want to give you guys some real quick notes on the background of this, in that FanDuel offers a lot of different types of entries and tournaments and double ups and multipliers. So they have a bunch of different leagues, and this one in particular was a tournament type of entry, and it was just a 25-cent entry, folks. 25 cents is what it took for me to enter this tournament, and I was able to come away with $1,000. That's pretty good ROI, if I can say so myself. So with that being said, of course, this is not to say that I did not get lucky. There's always luck involved in some things, but with fantasy sports, a lot of people try to bring this argument to me, and to me it is a game of skill, because if I am playing against somebody who's never played fantasy sports, 99.9% of the time, I'm probably going to beat you, okay? And that 0.1% of the time is that luck that I'm talking about. But again, with that being said, so this was a 25-cent lead, with first place being $1,000. What does that mean, folks? That means that there are $5 leads, $10 leads, 50, 200, 2,000, and on, with higher prizes for first place. So, and I compared my score that I ended up with that day to one of the bigger leagues with 6 figures on the line, and I could have won that as well, but I didn't enter those leagues. Of course, they have much higher entries. But with that being said, that just kind of gave me the idea that, hey, I could do it too if I would have entered those leagues as well. So, of course, this is the start, like I said. And since I did it, you guys can do it too. So it was a 25-cent entry. Folks, I was able to get first out of 71,856 people. The lineup that I played is in front of you guys, so you guys can see it right now. And I'll kind of just go down and basically tell you with FanDuel what exactly it is that you do and how you win. Okay, so basically FanDuel makes you play 2 of each position, so you have to pick 2 point guards, 2 shooting guards, 2 small forwards, 2 power forwards, and 1 center. And basically what you have to do is you're given a salary about $60,000, and all of these players are priced accordingly, and so you have to be able to fit a lineup with those 9 players within that $60,000 salary. So if you add up my salary, it's probably a little less than $60,000, if not at $60,000, but it's certainly not over, because I can't do that. So with that being said, let's get on to the lineups. As you can see in my lineup, the first guy that I picked was Ricky Rubio. The reason is, and I'm going to break down my reasoning for every single player with the following. It'll either be minutes, it'll either be price, it'll either be matchup, or it'll either be both, okay? Or 2 out of the 3 or 3 out of the 3, okay? And basically, if you guys remember, this was on January 30th. This was basically right when the Blake Griffin trade to the Detroit Pistons happened, which meant that Blake Griffin was not going to play for the Pistons that day, which means their backups were going to get a lot of minutes, and their backups were very cheap, and I knew that, and that's why I kind of locked in all of these guys. Now, like I mentioned before, FanDuel lets you play as many lineups as you want. Of course, there's a certain cap on the entries, but basically I played about 15 lineups that day, okay? And this was the lineup that basically hit. So obviously it's a volume game as well. Playing just one lineup limits your ability to win as much because, again, you're depending on just that one lineup. But a lot of my other lineups, and if you guys want, I can show you that. You can just message me or whatever. A lot of my other lineups had these very same players with just a couple players switched around, but similar locked. So with that being said, let's get started again. Ricky Rubio, I picked him because of the matchup and the price. I really like the price here. In a fast-paced game, I thought Ricky Rubio at 5,100 was just too cheap, so I went with him. He's a starting point guard, so that is just entirely too cheap for a starter. Ish Smith, now you guys will see I did a Detroit Pistons stack here, and Ish Smith was the start of it. Basically, I was locking in all of the Pistons besides Andre Drummond, who was very expensive, and I'll tell you why I didn't pick him. So I locked in Ish Smith. So basically, it was the minutes, it was the matchup. The matchup was also beautiful against Cleveland. If you guys remember, this is pre-LeBron trade, pre-trade of the Cavaliers with IT, and basically when the Cavs were in disarray and they were the worst defensive team in the league. So it made perfect sense to stack against the Cavs and basically go with all the Pistons because the matchup was beautiful, the price was beautiful, and the minutes were there. So everything kind of fit in line there for me. Ish Smith, I picked for that reason. James Harden was pure matchup, and because I had so much money left over, he was one of the most expensive guys that I could afford, so I went with him against Orlando, who's horrendous against guards. Then Bradley Beal, another player which with kind of matchup but also more minutes. John Wall was out, so Bradley Beal is going to shoulder most of the load for the Wizards. So that's why I went with him. Again, I could afford Bradley Beal because I went so cheap with the rest of the guys. So another expensive option for me. Then at small forward, I went with the Detroit Pistons again. The stacked Stanley Johnson and Reggie Bullock. Both of them started. Both of them were very cheap, as you guys can tell. So I was able to fit them in the lineup, and they paid off for me because they were able to get so many minutes. So basically, that was easy for me. Then I went with AD as my power forward, Anthony Davis. This was matchup also because I could afford AD because I had so much money left over against Sacramento. Anthony Davis, of course, against Sacramento. That's a great matchup for him because Sacramento is awful against bigs. So this was another matchup type of play for me, and because I could afford him, I went there. And then Anthony Tolliver was my other power forward. This was a pure lock for me because he was the minimum price on FanDuel, and he was starting for Blake Griffin because Blake Griffin was not going to play, and he was going to play upwards of 30 to 35 minutes. Really, every Piston starter was going to play upwards of 30 to 35 minutes, which is why I went with them. But on FanDuel, you're only allowed to go with 4 players from one team, so I was capped there. I could not go Andre Drummond, but of course I couldn't afford Andre Drummond as well, and I ended up going with Kosta Koufos. Now this one was an injury situation. You're probably thinking, Fives, why the hell would you go with him? Well, basically the Pelicans are not as good against bigs, so matchup there was also key. But also Willie Cauley-Stein was out that day. Skal Labissiere was out that day. So basically it was just Koufos and Zach Randolph, and I know Kosta Koufos was going to get minutes, ended up putting a monster double-double for me and paid off. And basically all of these guys came through, and that's what I'm talking about, where it's not just a game of luck, because I told you I gave you reasons for every single player that I picked here. So it is mainly skilled, but that is the reason why I picked the guys that I picked. I had a reason for every single one of them. None of those guys were a throwaway. Nobody was just like, oh, he just fits, so let me just throw him in here. So I ended up with a total of 454.3, and like I said, this was the first place lineup out of 71,000, and it could have won much more had I entered in other high stakes tournaments. So with that being said, I'm sure you guys are all wondering why I made this video. Well, it's a two-part reason, okay? The first is, of course, to share the success I've had on FanDuel. But the second thing is to sort of invite you guys to play as well, because look, I play FanDuel a lot. I play daily fantasy sports a lot. I know some people play DraftKings. I've played DraftKings here and there. Do I prefer FanDuel? And I've got all of this sort of knowledge that I can share with you guys if you guys have, basically questions for me in regards to FanDuel, in regards to starting to play daily fantasy sports. I mean, folks, it's a nice way to monetize your sports knowledge, and why not win some money while you're at it? It gives you an incentive sometimes to watch the games. And so I want to invite you guys and basically sign up for FanDuel and use the link that I have down below. It's going to help you get some money to get started. I believe it's like $10 in your account to get started. So just use that link down below, sign up for FanDuel. Let's connect. And if you guys really want me to give you guys advice on FanDuel and on daily fantasy sports, I could do a different segment on this channel. Hell, I could do a different YouTube channel and kind of make a channel completely dedicated to daily fantasy sports, because folks, I think it is legit. Like I said, I could have won a lot more money, and hopefully I do win a lot more money in the future. But with that being said, I want to share what I have with you guys, and I want you guys to prosper as well. So that's the reason for me sharing this information with you. So like I said, if you're interested, sign up for FanDuel. Use my link down below, folks. Hit me up on my social media. Make sure you guys follow me on there. But like I said, I think this is a real deal for you guys, because like I said, I play all the time. So I'd love to play with some of you guys. I can get some friends leagues going. Anything you guys want. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below on your thoughts, and if you guys want me to kind of give you guys daily fantasy sports advice. But again, make sure you guys sign up using the link down below. Thank you for subscribing. Give it a big thumbs up, and as always, thank you for watching.